wake up at midnight, you get on your knees and you beg God to send you money. This is not a magic spell. This isn't superstition. Shalom. What I'm about to tell you will make some people uncomfortable. God doesn't want you praying for money at midnight. He wants you doing something completely different. Today, I'm revealing the ancient midnight practice that wealthy Jewish families have used for centuries to align with infinite abundance, and the hidden meaning most people miss entirely. Let me destroy a lie that's keeping you broke. You've probably heard about midnight prayers. Maybe you've even tried them. You wake up at midnight, you get on your knees and you beg God to send you money, to give you a breakthrough, to finally let you catch a break. And then you go back to sleep wondering why nothing changes. Here's the painful truth. You're doing it completely wrong. I see this all the time in my community. People treat midnight prayers like they're magical incantations. They think if they just say the right words at the right time, money will appear in their bank account by morning. It's like they believe God is a cosmic vending machine. Insert prayer at midnight, receive fortune by dawn. But here's what's actually happening. Every time you wake up at midnight and beg God for money, you're reinforcing scarcity consciousness. You're telling the universe, I don't have enough. I'm desperate. I'm powerless. And the universe responds to that frequency by giving you more of the same. The Torah explicitly states that God is infinite source. Not a gatekeeper, not someone who rations abundance like a miser counting coins. Infinite. That means there's no shortage, there's no limit. The only limit is in your consciousness, in your ability to receive. So when you spend your midnight prayers begging, you're actually pushing abundance away. You're treating the creator of the universe like he's your employer, deciding whether to give you a raise. That's not alignment, that's desperation. And here's the cost of this misunderstanding. I've seen people waste years doing midnight prayers wrong. Years of waking up tired, feeling disappointed, wondering why God isn't answering. Meanwhile, their financial situation gets worse because they're in constant scarcity consciousness. But there's something happening at midnight that most people don't understand. In Kabbalah, we teach that midnight is chatzot, the spiritual turning point when the gates between worlds are thinnest. It's not magic, it's spiritual technology. And if you know how to use it correctly, everything changes. I'm going to show you exactly how. In the Zohar, one of the foundational texts of Jewish mysticism, there's a teaching that at midnight something shifts in the spiritual realms. The sages called this moment Shatso, the exact midpoint of the night when harsh judgments soften and divine mercy begins to flow. Let me explain what this actually means. Throughout the day, we're operating in what Kabbalah calls the realm of limitation, where we experience cause and effect, where we feel separated from source, where scarcity seems real. But at midnight there's a window, a brief opening when the boundary between the finite and infinite becomes permeable. This isn't superstition. This is spiritual technology that Jewish mystics have been using for over 3,000 years. The practice is called Tikkun Chatzot, midnight rectification. But here's what most people misunderstand. Rectification doesn't mean begging for God to fix your bank account. It means realigning your consciousness with infinite abundance. It means correcting the spiritual misalignment that's blocking the flow. Think of it this way. You know how your Wi-Fi signal is stronger in certain spots in your house? Midnight is like finding the spot where your spiritual Wi-Fi signal is strongest. It's when your ability to connect to infinite source is most powerful. Not because God is more generous at midnight, but because the interference is lower. The noise of the day is quiet. Your ego is sleeping. Your defenses are down. This is why Jewish mystics chose midnight specifically. They understood that consciousness creates reality, and midnight is when consciousness is most malleable, most receptive, most open to transformation. But here's the crucial distinction. This is not a magic spell. I'm not teaching you to say special words and expect money to fall from the sky. That's not how spiritual technology works. What I'm teaching you is how to use midnight to recalibrate your consciousness from scarcity to abundance, from asking to accessing, from begging to aligning. The specific prayer I'm going to teach you, and yes, it's in Hebrew, is a tool, but the consciousness behind the prayer is everything. You can say the words perfectly and get zero results if your consciousness is still in scarcity. Or you can say the words imperfectly but with aligned consciousness and watch your entire financial reality transform. I'm going to show you both, the exact prayer and the exact consciousness you need behind it. But first, let me tell you about someone who did this completely wrong. I had a client named David, real estate agent, married with 2 kids, drowning in debt. When he came to me, he was 3 months behind on his mortgage. His marriage was falling apart because of the financial stress. He'd tried everything: extra open houses, cold calling, networking events. Nothing was working. Then a friend told him about midnight prayers, said it changed his life. So David decided to try it. For 3 months, David set his alarm for midnight every single night. He'd drag himself out of bed, get on his knees, and pray. He'd recite Psalms. He'd beg God to send him a buyer. He'd plead for just one big deal to close so he could catch up on the mortgage. Then he'd check his phone for emails from clients before going back to bed. You know what happened? Nothing. Actually, worse than nothing. His situation got worse. 2 more deals fell through. A client he was counting on went with another agent. The bank sent a foreclosure warning. David came to my office absolutely furious. "Rabbi," he said, "this midnight prayer thing is garbage. I did it every night for 3 months and I'm worse off than when I started. My friend said it works, but it doesn't work. It's just another false promise." I let him vent. Then I asked him one question. "David, when you prayed at midnight, what were you praying for?" "For money," he said. "For a deal to close. For clients. For God to finally help me out." "Exactly," I said. "That's your problem." He looked at me like I was crazy. "What are you talking about? That's the whole point of prayer, isn't it? To ask God for what you need." "No," I told him. "That's begging, and begging creates more scarcity. You spent 3 months at midnight reinforcing the consciousness that you don't have enough, that you're powerless, that God is withholding from you. You turned midnight into a daily reminder of your lack." David sat back in his chair. I could see something shift in his face. "So what am I supposed to do?" he asked. I leaned forward. "David, you're not supposed to ask for money. You're supposed to become a vessel for abundance. There's a difference." He didn't understand yet. Most people don't at first. They've been taught their whole lives that prayer means asking, that spirituality means begging some distant God to throw them scraps. But I was about to teach David what midnight prayers are really for, and it changed everything. Let me give you the exact framework I taught David. This is the 3-part midnight practice that actually works. Not because it's magic, but because it transforms consciousness. Part 1. Gratitude recitation, opening the vessel. You cannot receive abundance into a closed vessel, and nothing closes a vessel faster than ingratitude. The Talmud teaches that ingratitude is the root of all spiritual disconnection. When you're focused on what you don't have, you're literally blocking what's trying to come to you. So the first thing you do at midnight is thank God for your current blessings. Not the blessings you want, the ones you already have. Even if they seem small, especially if they seem small. You have breath in your lungs, thank God. You have a bed to sleep in, thank God. You have people who love you, thank God. You start there. You spend the first few minutes of your midnight practice in pure gratitude, opening the vessel of your consciousness to receive more. Part 2. The Hebrew declaration, not a request. This is where most people go wrong. They think the Hebrew prayer is a magic spell to make money appear. It's not. It's a declaration of alignment with infinite source. I'm going to give you the specific prayer in a moment, but here's what you need to understand. This is not begging. This is declaring your connection to the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. You're not asking God to give you something He's withholding. You're aligning your consciousness with the infinite abundance that's already flowing. The difference is everything. Please give me money is scarcity consciousness. I align with infinite abundance is source consciousness. Same midnight, same person, completely different frequency, completely different results. Part 3. Generous action planning, completing the circuit. Here's the part that separates people who transform their finances from people who stay stuck. You must end your midnight practice by planning how you'll give when abundance comes. This is the principle of tzedakah, righteous giving. But it's not about charity in the way most people think. It's about completing the energetic circuit. Abundance flows through you, not to you. If you're planning to hoard everything that comes, you're blocking the flow before it even starts. So at the end of your midnight practice, you commit to giving. Maybe it's 10% of whatever comes. Maybe it's supporting someone in your community. Maybe it's funding a cause you believe in. The specific amount doesn't matter when you're starting. What matters is the consciousness. I'm a channel for abundance, not a dam.